would you expect to happen if your mother or son, niece or colleague were attacked in the street, or if they were burgled, sexually assaulted, or if their private images were shared? What if your child were murdered, or you survived a bomb attack? How would you want to be treated? How would you want them to be helped? Of course, we expect that criminals will be caught and punished, but we also want victims, no matter their background or the type of crime, to be treated with dignity, to be looked after and helped to recover, to be heard and to see justice done. But this wasn't the case for Colm or Nina, nor for millions of other victims. What do they say about their experiences? Let's take a moment to listen to them.
My experience with the police was very traumatizing, and sadly I have to say it was more traumatizing than the rape itself. Police is your friend and your assistant, and I experienced the exact opposite when I came there in the worst situation of my whole life. And they still didn't believe me, and they told me literally, this thing with the rape drugs doesn't really exist, it's just a media hype.
The support service didn't make an effort with me to speak in simpler language. Difficult terms I didn't understand. And the police was just the same. I just want to go home because what are you with a person who helps you you don't understand?
6 days after I left the hospital, wasn't even a week since Loughlin Island. 6 days later, I left and I was on my own from that day forward. Never since the day I left hospital have I ever been contacted by a government or a health employee in the north of Ireland or in the south of Ireland, and anybody asked me how I was doing.
These testimonies and many others reflect what organisations on the front line have been describing for years, what victims have repeatedly complained about: the failure to translate European and national laws into real change for victims. This is why Victim Support Europe, our members who support more than 2 million victims every year, as well as hundreds of partner organisations, have called for fundamental change in behaviours and on the ground in police stations and courtrooms. This is why we warmly welcome the European Commission's latest proposals to improve EU victims law, the Victims Directive, which has stood unchanged for the last 10 years. It's now time to improve access to support services and improve the way they operate. It's time to improve how victims receive information, how we all communicate with them, and it's time to make criminal proceedings work better for victims rather than harming them even more, to protect them as well as provide justice. We welcome the European Commission's leadership to improve the situation of all victims of crime. No victim must be forgotten. This is why the Victims Directive is so important, a single foundational law where no victim is left behind, a law complemented by multiple specialist legislation for different victims groups. But we also need a shift in approach if we truly want victims to benefit from these laws, if we want to see change on the ground. EU laws must push for a coordinated, strategic and long-term system for victims. States must introduce victim strategies, national frameworks for victim support, communication systems, and a safe justice approach where the welfare of victims in our justice systems is as important as the fair trial rights of defendants. In increasingly uncertain times, we must put in place strong systems to support resilience in individuals and in communities. Solutions which ensure social cohesion and inclusion. Supporting victims is critical to this, a bridge between health and justice.